Kwame Anthony Appiah, a philosopher, cultural theorist, and public intellectual, is celebrated for his deep insights into the complexities of identity, morality, and the intersections of culture. While his philosophy is not inherently dark, in the sense of embracing nihilism or despair, it grapples with profound and sometimes unsettling truths about human existence. These truths challenge conventional beliefs, forcing us to confront uncomfortable realities about the nature of identity, the fragility of morality, and the intricate dynamics of a globalized world. In this exploration, we will delve into Appiah's key philosophical lessons that, while illuminating, can be perceived as dark due to their unsettling implications. 1. The double-edged nature of identity. Identity is central to Appiah's philosophical inquiry. He argues that while identity categories such as race, gender, nationality, and religion can foster solidarity and a sense of belonging, they can also create divisions, perpetuate prejudice, and stifle individuality. Appiah's work reveals the duality of identity, its capacity to unify and to alienate. The dark side. Many of the identities we hold dear are, according to Appiah, socially constructed rather than natural or inherent. These constructions often simplify complex human experiences into rigid categories, leading to exclusion and conflict. For instance, racial identities have historically been used to justify oppression, slavery, and systemic inequality. Even today, the overemphasis on racial or cultural purity fosters xenophobia, nationalism, and intergroup tensions. The realization that these identities are constructs rather than absolutes can leave individuals feeling unmoored, questioning the foundations of their self-concept. Appiah's perspective challenges us to embrace a more fluid understanding of identity, one that acknowledges its constructed nature while striving for inclusivity. However, this fluidity can be unsettling, as it dismantles the comfort of fixed and stable self-definitions. 2. The myth of pure cultures. Appiah's critique of cultural purity is one of his most striking contributions to contemporary philosophy. He argues that cultures are dynamic, constantly evolving entities shaped by centuries of exchange, adaptation, and conflict. The notion of a pure, untainted culture is a myth. The dark side. This realization undermines romanticized notions of cultural heritage and authenticity. The idea of cultural purity has often been weaponized to resist change, exclude others, and justify xenophobia. For example, the rhetoric of protecting traditional values or national culture frequently masks attempts to suppress diversity and innovation. Furthermore, Appiah's critique forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that no culture exists in isolation. Even practices or traditions considered quintessentially native are often the result of historical interactions and borrowings. This perspective can provoke a sense of loss or disillusionment for those who view cultural heritage as a source of pride and stability. 3. Morality without absolutes. Appiah's ethical philosophy is grounded in the belief that morality is not universal but contextual. He argues that ethical norms are shaped by social practices, historical contingencies, and cultural contexts. This perspective challenges the idea of moral absolutes. The dark side. Without universal moral principles, individuals and societies are left to navigate a world of ethical relativism. This can be deeply unsettling, as it undermines the certainty and comfort provided by fixed moral codes. For instance, practices that are considered ethical in one culture may be condemned in another, leaving individuals to grapple with conflicting standards and the absence of clear-cut answers. Appiah's approach emphasizes ethical pluralism, the coexistence of multiple, often competing moral frameworks. While this pluralism fosters tolerance and dialogue, it also places a heavy burden on individuals to discern right from wrong in complex, ambiguous situations. The lack of moral absolutes can lead to paralysis or moral compromise, highlighting the fragility of ethical progress. 4. Cosmopolitanism, a hard road to unity. Appiah's vision of cosmopolitanism advocates for global citizenship, where individuals recognize their shared humanity while respecting cultural differences. He envisions a world where people transcend parochial loyalties to embrace a more inclusive and interconnected perspective. The dark side. True cosmopolitanism demands significant sacrifices. It requires individuals to confront their privileges, question their deeply held beliefs, and engage with perspectives that challenge their worldview. This process can be profoundly uncomfortable and alienating, particularly in a world rife with inequality, historical injustices, and entrenched divisions. Moreover, cosmopolitanism's emphasis on global responsibility can feel overwhelming. In a world of interconnected crises, from climate change to systemic inequality, the weight of moral responsibility can lead to guilt, burnout, or a sense of helplessness. Appiah's cosmopolitanism asks us to navigate these challenges with humility and persistence, but the path is fraught with difficulties. 5. The fragility of ethical progress. Appiah is acutely aware of the precariousness of ethical progress. While humanity has made significant strides in advancing human rights, equality, and justice, these gains are neither guaranteed nor permanent. The dark side. History is replete with examples of ethical regressions, moments when societies abandoned hard-won progress in favor of authoritarianism, prejudice, or apathy. Appiah's work serves as a sobering reminder that ethical progress requires constant vigilance and effort. Without active engagement, societies risk sliding backward, undoing the achievements of previous generations. This perspective highlights the fragility of progress and the need for continuous struggle. It also underscores the potential for failure, as progress is often met with resistance, backlash, and unintended consequences. 6. Individual responsibility in a globalized world. Appiah emphasizes the role of individual responsibility in addressing global challenges. He argues that each person, through their choices and actions, contributes to larger systems of injustice or progress. The dark side. This emphasis on individual responsibility can be both empowering and overwhelming. Acknowledging one's complicity in systemic issues such as inequality, exploitation, or environmental destruction forces individuals to confront uncomfortable truths about their impact on the world. For instance, consumers in wealthy nations may feel complicit in exploitative labor practices in developing countries or in the environmental degradation caused by their consumption habits. This realization can lead to feelings of guilt, frustration, or helplessness, particularly when systemic issues seem insurmountable. Appiah's philosophy challenges individuals to act despite these feelings, recognizing that small, incremental changes can contribute to broader progress. 7. The death of the essential self. Appiah's critique of the essential self is a cornerstone of his philosophy. He argues that identity is not fixed or inherent but is shaped by social interactions, narratives, and contexts. The dark side. The rejection of an essential self can be deeply disorienting. For many, the belief in a stable, core identity provides a sense of continuity and purpose. Appiah's perspective challenges this belief, suggesting that our sense of self is fluid and contingent. This fluidity raises profound questions about authenticity and self-knowledge. If identity is shaped by external factors and social scripts, can we ever truly know ourselves? This uncertainty can be unsettling, as it undermines the foundation of self-understanding and personal growth. 8. The burden of historical accountability. Appiah frequently discusses the weight of historical injustices and the responsibility of present generations to address them. He contends that acknowledging and rectifying historical wrongs is crucial for building a just society. The dark side. This lesson forces us to confront the lasting impact of past atrocities, such as slavery, colonialism, and systemic racism. Recognizing these legacies can evoke feelings of guilt, shame, or defensiveness, particularly for those who benefit from inherited privileges. Additionally, the task of addressing historical injustices often seems overwhelming, as the harms are deeply embedded in societal structures and attitudes. Appiah's emphasis on accountability challenges us to move beyond denial and complacency, but it also highlights the difficulty and discomfort of reckoning with the past. 9. The uncertainty of human progress. While Appiah acknowledges the advancements humanity has made, he is cautious about framing progress as inevitable or linear. He warns against complacency, noting that progress is often accompanied by new challenges and unintended consequences. The dark side. This perspective undermines the optimism that often accompanies narratives of progress. For example, technological advancements that improve quality of life can also exacerbate inequality, environmental degradation, or social disconnection. Appiah's view forces us to grapple with the paradox of progress, its capacity to both uplift and harm. By highlighting the uncertainty of progress, Appiah reminds us of the need for vigilance and critical reflection. However, this awareness can also lead to a sense of disillusionment or fatigue, as each step forward seems to reveal new obstacles. 10. The ethical ambiguity of global interdependence. Appiah's philosophy emphasizes the interconnectedness of the modern world. He explores how globalization creates both opportunities and ethical dilemmas, as individuals and nations become increasingly interdependent. The dark side. Global interdependence blurs the lines of moral responsibility. For instance, consumers in one country may inadvertently support exploitative practices or environmental harm in another. This ambiguity complicates ethical decision-making, as the consequences of our actions are often indirect and diffuse. Appiah's focus on interdependence challenges us to think globally and act responsibly, but it also underscores the complexity and difficulty of navigating a morally interconnected world. This awareness can lead to a sense of powerlessness, as individual actions often feel inadequate in addressing systemic issues. Conclusion. Kwame Anthony Appiah's philosophy offers profound insights into the complexities of identity, morality, and cosmopolitanism. His work challenges us to confront difficult truths about the constructed nature of identity, the contextual basis of morality, and the challenges of global interconnectedness. While these lessons can be perceived as dark due to their unsettling implications, they ultimately offer a path toward greater understanding, empathy, and ethical living. Appiah's philosophy is not about despair but about grappling with complexity and embracing the discomfort of growth. By confronting the dark aspects of his teachings, we can cultivate a deeper appreciation for the nuances of human existence and strive for a more just and inclusive world.